Today on Locked On Rockies. Back to reality for the Colorado Rockies. Swept by the Mets at home, the offense continues to not be able to get anything done.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 8th day of June in the year 2025. I'm your, I should say, 9th day of June in the year 2025, recording on the 8th day of June here after the Rockies fall to the Mets in 3 games. And you look at it and you say, wow, the Mets dominated. But there is a key point here to take to think about here. The Rockies, and much as you're going to hear, we have to, here's what we have to do for sure after this season. We have to take all the Coors Field stuff, and we have to never bring up offense at Coors Field for the Rockies again, because it doesn't matter. This team can't score on the road. This team can't score at home. This team continues to be on trend to be the worst team in baseball. And it starts when you look, because the Rockies are so far behind other teams on offense. I mean, and it continues to prove over and over and over again how far behind the 8 ball the Colorado Rockies are. We're going to dive into that and more and the series here on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we dive into everything, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. I, of course, am your Rockies fan extraordinaire, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk. Let's just start here with a couple of tweets. Patrick Lyons, Rockies suffer 11th sweep in a 21 series this season with Sunday's 13-5 loss to the Mets. Run differential is at negative 198 through 65 games. Record falls to 12-53. That's a 185 winning percentage, and 6-25, a 194 average at home. Patrick Saunders follows this up by saying 6 homers allowed by Rockies at Coors Field are tied for the second most in franchise history. Record is 7 by the San Francisco Giants on July 2nd, 2002 in an 18-5 win, but Barry Bonds did not homer that day. And another thing on the home runs here from Patrick Lyons. Last time there was 6+ home runs against the Rockies, June 7th, 2019 against the Dodgers. It's not that, I mean, it's clear, obviously, the talent is much better on the Mets, but it goes back to this, where it's just like there was some unlucky breaks for the Rockies in certain situations, and they got off into a pretty solid start into this series with a close game that goes into extras when they had opportunities. But folks, let's just go through this real quick. 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. McMahon, Moniak, Estrada, Doyle, Beck, and Keeson Hira going all over. Moniak was 1 for 2 with runners in scoring position in game 1. Let's go to game 2 here for runners in scoring position. 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, leaving 8 total men on base. And this is, let's read a little bit here from Skylar Timmons. Mets 8, Rockies 1 from Purple Row on that. This is from game 2 of the series. The Rockies went 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, leaving 8 total men on base while striking out 9 times with no walks. In the bottom of the first, Jordan Beck and Dairo Estrada both started with singles to put runners on the corners with no outs. A couple of quick outs to Brett Beatty at second base, and a strikeout kept the Rockies off the board early. With 2 runners on in the third and no outs, Estrada hit into a double play, and Hunter Goodman grounded out to end a threat. Later in the 5th, the Rockies had 2 men in scoring position with 2 outs and a chance to tie the game, down 3-1, but McMahon grounded out softly to second to end the threat. Plenty of opportunities arose, but the Rockies couldn't get a clutch hit with the big hits when they needed, whereas the Mets made the most of their 3 for 14. 3 for 14 with runners in scoring position for the Mets in game 2. And then in the second one, or in the first game, the Rockies able to hold the Mets 2-15. The Rockies were being successful in these first 2 games of the season, mostly at preventing the Mets from running away with it. But when you can't even get it shows though what the Mets demonstrated is put the ball in play and good things will happen. The broadcast talked about it. It's so important to just get the ball out there, just get contact, make contact with the ball and do something with it. And instead, it's just constant double plays, weak ground balls, strikeouts. Oh my goodness, double plays and strikeouts. And again, it goes back to the core of all the issues here. No team has been this bad because no team has embraced and thought that what they, again, it all goes back to the core issues with the Rockies here. Again, this is a team that has told us time and time again that they're on the track, wait for the development, wait for this. Oh, hey, we got Estrada coming back. We got Arcia. We got these other vets. No, it doesn't matter. The team is so far behind professional hitting teams, good hits. When you watch Pete Alonso and Juan Soto in the lineup, those dudes know how to hit. Those dudes know how to get on base. Those dudes know how to do damage. I'm right now, and there's young guys, certainly. There's no clutch hitter on the Rockies lineup. Yes, Hunter Goodman's been good. Yes, Ritter comes up and has an exciting triple to start off his career in a close game, and there's some stuff there. But there's no one on the Colorado Rockies that comes up to bat in a clutch situation, and you are confident the job is getting done. Hunter Goodman has a chance here in Game 3. Rips at the first pitch. He liked it. Pop fly, nothing doing there. Guys, the Rockies have runners, nobody out. Runners in scoring position, double play ball, 3 outs or strikeouts. So much unproductive offense, so many unproductive at-bats, so many missed and wasted and lost opportunities from an offense that is so horrendous that I can't sit here again and buy into the development of the players. This offense is dominated time and time and time and time again. Swept away. Historic run differential, bottom of the barrel across the board. So again, the sweep of the Marlins is a mirage. And remember, all those games were close. All those games, the Rockies didn't score a lot of runs. Let's take a look here at the last time the Rockies scored, let's say, more than 6 runs, because they did score 6 runs against the Marlins. So that's the high water mark, is 6 runs for the Colorado Rockies. Let's see. So they scored 6 runs against the Marlins on June 2nd. And now I'm looking for the next time. Okay, so we got that 14-run spot against the Diamondbacks there. So we got 2 times the Rockies have scored over 6 runs in nearly a month. Maybe a little less than a month, because it's only there's still time here. And we keep scrolling. And there was that night. So there was a couple of flashes here earlier in the season. But the Rockies of late here, when you go back to that 6-run spot there that the Rockies put up there against the Marlins, that's the only time that they've scored more than 5 runs since that what did I say there? That explosive game, that May 17th game. The Rockies have scored 5 or more runs 3 times since May 17th, and that includes today, or the finale against the Mets. It's the 5 spot that they put up against, or the 6 spot they put up against the Marlins, and then it is that shootout against the Diamondbacks there, 14-12. Other than that, the Rockies are milding with topping out, hitting 4 runs maybe here and there, but the offense is so painfully bad. So painfully bad. And it continues into the finale here as we go back to Purple Row and we read from Samantha Bradfield's Mets 13, Rockies 5, 6 home runs sink the Rockies. And here's what Samantha writes. Tell me if you've heard this before. The Rockies struggled once again to score with men in scoring position, especially early in the game. They end up going 5 for 18 and left 9 on base, but they still had plenty of opportunities to blow things open. Taylor McGill allowed back-to-back walks in the second, but then Orlando Arcia struck out and Braxton Fulford flew out to end that threat. In the 5th, Sam Hilliard broke up the no-hitter with a double and was knocked in by Fulford. Tyler Freeman walked and Jordan Beck doubled to score Fulford. Ryan Ritter was then hit by a pitch to load the bases, down 8-2, but then Hunter Goodman and Thairo Estrada flew out to end that threat. In the 6th, McMahon and Hilliard got on base back-to-back again, but then Arcia grounded into a double play, and Fulford struck out swinging to strand McMahon at 3rd. Of the 5 runs scored with runners in scoring position, 3 of them came in the 9th when Freeman tripled, Beck doubled, and then Ritter singled. Recorded his first MLB RBI for Ritter there. But then the final 3 Rockies were retired to end the game. So let's do some quick math here as we close out segment number 1. So in game number 1, the Rockies go 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Okay, let's go to game 2. Well, they go 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. So the Rockies now, with runners in scoring position through the first 2 games of this series, were 1 for 15 with runners in scoring position. 1 for 15 over the course of 2 games for the Rockies offense. Then they go 5 for 18. So the Rockies in this series are 6 for, 33? 6 for 33 at Coors Field with runners in scoring position. A broken offense with no hope on the horizon. I'm sorry. This is, again, reality check. This is the reality for the Colorado Rockies. A sweep of the Marlins is not the reality. It's the weird occasion that we'll look back on this season and say, hey, at least they had that sweep right there. But this is the reality of the Colorado Rockies. An offense that can't score runs and a pitching staff that can't stop giving up home runs. Let's keep breaking it all down right here on Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes wonderful Pistachios. And, folks, it is summer hiking time, right? I mean, you are out there, you're hitting the 14ers, you're hitting the trails. It's Colorado, for gosh sakes. You got to get out there, and you need a protein-packed snack that's going to help you get through those hikes. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving is 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10%, yes, 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you keep feeling fuller longer. And remember, if you're out on the trail and you don't have time to do the best part of honestly eating pistachios, which is cracking them open and getting that satisfying thing, we'll get the no-shells variety and slam them on the trail. Make sure you're packing your waste out with you, of course, right? We pack in, we pack out, we leave no trace. That's what we do in colorful Colorado. If you also love the taste, you can find all the great varieties of flavors that Wonderful Pistachios offers for you. Perfect for the trail, perfect for the kids, perfect for your busy life. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com. That's wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Back at it here, Locked On Rockies, and for segment number 2 of today's episode, fire off your Rockies hot takes and what's on your mind for the Colorado Rockies in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. That's where you can be part of the show. The best way to interact with the show is on the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. Be part of the show. Fire it up. Let me know what's on your mind. And I don't know. I mean, it's weird. I guess maybe I'm all hopped up and all fired up, and it's the same type of thing. And hey, look, there goes Paul ranting and raving again, doing the same show he's done 17 million times this season. It's just disappointing when it's again, you just watch teams and it's just even the bottom of the lineup is doing damage. The broadcast mentioning in the finale here against the Mets where, you know, the top of the order, the guys were doing damage and doing things. Your Sotos, your Lindors, your Alonsos, right? Your known damage dealers are doing the job, but it's the rest of the Mets. It's the rest of the Mets lineup that's getting involved, doing taking advantage and doing damage here. Jeff McNeil, of course, picking up the 2 home runs there. 2 guys with 2 home runs in the finale there. And, of course, Brett Beatty and Francisco Alvarez adding home runs to that as well, as the Rockies allow 6 home runs. One of the tying a near record. 7 was the franchise record. So still a top finishing performance. 8 strikeouts for the Rockies there in the finale. But it's damage from everyone across the day. Tyrone Taylor, the only one. Nope. It's interesting. We mentioned Lindor, right? Lindor had a massive series, but cold in the finale. But he did a lot of weight pulling in those first ones. Acuna only getting one. I think comes in for Lindor late. Nothing doing there. But the Rockies able to hold at least Nimmo and Lindor off in the finale. But you're not going to stop when Juan Soto gets on base every single time he reaches. I believe he had 3 walks, 3 hits, goes 6 for 6. I know it's not technically it, but gets on base all 6 times, goes 3 for 3. It's just, I mean, again, it's you just look at as this season has proven over and over again. You can complain about the money that the Mets spend. You can complain about other teams and the money they spend, but it's also that these teams are able to not only get production and spend money on big names that can do damage, but they get production from the rest of the lineup. They get production from the players that aren't supposed to be the ones carrying the wagon the whole time. And it might go up and down for those players, but overall, the team as a whole, 1 through 9, contributes and helps get this team wins. Instead, when you look at the Rockies roster, it's pathetic. I mean, in reality, they got 10 hits. The Rockies getting hits, getting guys on base, but with a lack of ability to drive runners in, with a lack of ability to get the job done, and an offense that can't do anything at home, on the road, when the weather's warm, when the weather sucks, it doesn't matter. These will continue to be the results. Teams like the Mets are going to steamroll you. Teams like the Dodgers, teams that can score, are going to steamroll you because you can't keep up. When you keep missing out on every opportunity that you have to score runs, when you can't get the job done, not only do you fall behind and lose games, that's how you have, what was it, a negative 196 run differential? I mean, folks, we're talking about teams outscoring the Rockies by, it's 198, by the way, minus 198. The Rockies are being outscored by 200 runs. 200. That's how bad your offense is. I don't want to hear another thing about Rockies at Coors. How can they be bad at Coors? It's Coors Field. Just because you play 82 games at Coors, you got to be great. No, the Rockies have shown that doesn't matter because they have guys that can't get the ball in play, can't make contact when they need to, can't come up clutch. There is no clutch gene in the Rockies locker room at all, maybe outside of Jake Bird. That Jake Bird might be the only guy that has clutch in his body right now. Yes, we can talk about again, great to see Ryan Ritter come up and make an impact at the major league level, doing some cool stuff, being able to make some excitement this series. Great that Braxton Fulford comes up and does some stuff too. But oh my, I'm talking about the rest of them. I am talking, even with his good season, Hunter Goodman, way too many missed opportunities this time. Ryan McMahon has been able to get on base and was able to get on base in this series, but still, it's amazing when you just look at the lineups and you look at the talent in there, and it just continues to be outmatched. And then you throw in the fact that the Rockies pitching staff couldn't avoid any sort of big damage. I mean, the close game in the first one and on Friday was hopefully the one that was going to set the tone. But unfortunately, the starting pitching in both the finale and the day before, Germán ends up, it's not a horrible day for Germán Marquez there as he navigates some trouble, but he still allows 4 earned runs. In the second game, the Mets still hit 3 home runs in the opener. And then in the first game there, I believe more damage was no home runs in the first game. I forgot. But it goes to show you how important hitting those long balls are for teams, and how much damage and how much of an impact they can have, especially at 20th and Blake. So let's just take a look here where the Rockies rank in home runs hit real quick. The Rockies 25th in baseball with 55 home runs hit this year. The Mets 70s have 22 more home runs and added a nice chunk of those home runs this weekend after decimating the Rockies there. Yeah, what was that? They added how many home runs to their total? They had 6 in the finale, nothing on the first one, and then how many home runs in the first game there? Another 3. Then 9 home runs. 9 home runs added to the Mets total there, jumping them up there. If you take the 9 away, that puts them at 68. That would put them right back in the middle of the pack. So not too far separated from there. But again, those 9 home runs would make up nearly a fifth of the Rockies' total home runs on the season. And then on the flip side, let's just go back here to the pitching here and the home runs allowed by a pitching staff. Let's take a look there. And the Mets, credit to them. We're sitting here saying, oh, hit more home runs, do more damage. Mets pitching staff only has allowed the second fewest home runs this year in all of baseball. The Rockies have allowed 78 home runs to go with that. So they've been out home run. They've allowed 20-ish. What is that? 20-ish more. Let's see. Let me get that. Yeah, 55. And then what did I say here? Boom, boom, boom. 78. So the Rockies have allowed 23 more home runs. They've allowed nearly a 50% more, of the home runs that they've hit this year, they have allowed back. And that's the problem, or not the problem, right? It's funny how many times I say that's the problem, and I have to stop myself and say, wait a minute, tap the brakes. And that's not the only problem. So again, I mean, and it's interesting here when we're talking about the young guys on the Rockies, and I know the difference in prospects and differences, all this stuff, but it's amazing that when you think about, this was a Patrick Lyons tweet I wanted to bring up here. One more thing here from him. Here's just a couple of things. Mets Juan Soto has reached base safely in all 6 plate appearances with 3 singles and 3 walks. He's the 18th player to ever do that without making an out against the Rockies in Denver, first since Freddie Freeman, who went 1-for-1 with 5 walks last season. That's crazy. Mets Juan Soto has reached base all 5 plate appearances today against Colorado at 26 years and 266 days old. Only 3 Rockies starters are younger by more than a year: Hunter Goodman, Jordan Beck, and Ryan Ritter. And Juan Soto is just on a different level than all of those guys. And again, Beck, Goodman, you're like, okay, those are exciting young stuff. That there is potential, there is hope there. I don't want to discourage all of that. But it just goes to show you how that level of ball player, that level of young ball players on a different planet than what the Rockies have in their organization. And then Juan Soto is the rare case, right? Juan Soto has been the one of one, the unicorn, bouncing around, been one of the top talked about guys. Do you believe that? And I know baseball doesn't always do this, and it's not really the best way to phrase this, but I don't think there's anyone on the Rockies in the Rockies organization that can come close to what Juan Soto. I mean, even a bad Juan Soto stretch just seems like, again, the level of talent and the level of ability to identify talent and develop that talent. The Rockies just seem to be so far behind compared to other teams. And that's the theme of today's episode. It just, when these series happen, when good teams like the Mets, when championship caliber, playoff caliber teams, like we've seen so many of, when they come to town, that's what the Rockies need to look like, at least at home. You need to be able to capitalize on the runners in scoring position. You need to be able to do enough damage to make it uncomfortable for them, instead of time and time again failing when you have the right opportunities, when you have the big opportunities, because the Rockies had chances to win not only the series, but I should say it, they had a chance to win the series. If you capitalize and cash in on those runners in scoring position, you can change it around. You put the pressure back on them. You need the Mets to make some stuff, but instead, the anemic Rockies offense allows the Mets to really kind of keep things simple. Only 3 pitchers used in the second game, only 2 pitchers used in the finale for the Mets. And then in game 1 there, that's when the Rockies kind of still a pretty classic 4-inning. They didn't get after really anybody. They didn't make any pitcher uncomfortable in this series for the Mets. And Coors Field needs to be a place where pitchers, doesn't matter how good they are, is an uncomfortable place to be. But when you have an offense that can't do anything, that doesn't do anything, they're going to be comfortable on the bump there in a place that should be an unfriendly environment, especially when you got the backing of plenty of Mets fans that filled the stadium. All right, up next for the Rockies, they'll take on the NL West rival and San Francisco Giants after an off day tomorrow. Let's take a look at what the Giants have been up to lately, and we'll see how the Rockies stack up coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Gametime. Have you ever decided that the last minute that it's time to head to the ballpark? It's time to get some baseball in. It's time to enjoy a game with friends and family. Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the big money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime makes it possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop closer to first pitch, and you've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes out the worry of buying. Gametime has gotten me to the All-Star game, has gotten me into big-time concerts, and it's my go-to source when I am looking for tickets, especially when I'm a little iffy, little half-second, but it's gotten me into playoff games. It's gotten me into, like I said, all sorts of sporting events, but it ain't just sports. They got you covered for all sorts of stuff. So maybe if you're looking for some cheap tickets at a nice rate for this upcoming series against the Giants? Why not check it out for yourself? Take out the guesswork of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Locked On Rockies here, wrapping things up for this weekend series against the Mets. Looking ahead to the Giants, we'll do that. But I did want to highlight something, a positive that Samantha Bradfield writes here on Purple Row. Mets 13, Rockies 5, 6 home runs sink the Rockies. And small victories, little things here. Let's talk about Sam Hilliard and Tyler Freeman. Two positives today were Sam Hilliard and Tyler Freeman. Hilliard went 1 for 2 with a double and 2 walks today after going 1 for 3 with a double and a strikeout yesterday. He has a 3-game hitting streak and has only failed to reach base in 1 game this year, a pinch hit appearance against the Marlins. Overall, Hilliard is slashing .368, .455, and .789 in 8 games. Meanwhile, Freeman has an 8-game hitting streak going. Today, he went 2 for 3 with a double, a triple, and a walk. During this streak, he has gone 12 for 25 with his batting .480 with 3 doubles and a triple. So good for them. I mean, hey, Freeman's an interesting case there as this season's going to go on, as we see what he does as he continues to get more and more opportunities and more reps. That'll be an interesting thing to see how he develops throughout the year. And again, is Sam Hilliard the answer to all the Rockies' woes? Have we seen a lot of this? Yes. But for now, to give Brenton Doyle a couple, if Sam Hilliard is going to be the backup center fielder for the rest of the year, I'm okay with that. Give this guy an opportunity. Give a guy that's given a lot to this team, that has shown up, has had big moments, obviously has had plenty of struggles in that time too, but it's really cool in a big weekend for the Hilliard family. Sam Hilliard is not only gets the playing time, but performs and helps out the team as well. So good on those guys for going out there and doing a job. Of course, we mentioned Jake Bird having a strong performance in that, getting those strikeouts when the bases were loaded, when the Rockies' energy was back high. You could tell the difference in the energy of game 1 versus game 3, right? It was just completely different levels for the Rockies in that. But a couple of bright spots, certainly for the Rockies there. And as Sam Hilliard is a guy that the broadcast talked a lot about it this weekend too. He's an easy guy to root for. He's a guy that Rockies fans have gotten to know a lot and connected with there. So there was a couple of positives amongst the sweep here. And now the Rockies taking on a dreaded division rival in the San Francisco Giants. And man, oh man, if you've listened to the show, you know how much I hate when the Rockies play the Giants. I believe, is this the second time the Rockies have played the Giants this year? Yep, the Rockies avoided the sweep in San Francisco there, winning game 1 in their first series of the season before the Giants kind of thoroughly handled the Rockies from there. That was back in the beginning of May, so still kind of a month into the season, and in San Francisco where it's a bit different for this ball club. But San Francisco is going to come in and look to be doing damage here, as they always do. They have the Rockies constantly in their sights and looking to do the big time damage. Now, the big thing here, the big difference maker that might be a little bit interesting here is the Giants haven't been a great offensive overall throughout the season, but they are coming into this series red hot, at least when you're looking at them now. They have won 5 in a row. Yep, they are on a 5-game winning streak here. And actually, if you go even back there, let's see, that's 8 and 10. So they are actually winners of 7 of their last 10 ball games here. Not a huge offensive outpouring here in those games, as we mentioned, the offense being a little bit of the weaker spot for the Giants. Only the most they've scored in this solid stretch of ball is 6, but still, that's enough to get the job done. And now they're going into a good chunk of their recent games in San Francisco as well, where offense and big offensive performances are few and far between more often than not. Across the board, though, Giants are way ahead of the Rockies in most categories here. Let's just go through them. Better batting average, 230 team batting average for the Giants compared to the Rockies 218. The Giants have scored 267 runs this year compared to the Rockies 199. Close on hits there, though, but interesting to see how only 30 more hits for San Francisco this year as a team. They've hit, 6 more home runs as a team, have an OBP of 306 compared to the Rockies 280, a slugging of 369 compared to the Rockies 360. Huge drop off. Here's the big difference here. We talked about how important it would be for the Rockies to start hitting long balls. Well, the Giants have allowed the fewest home runs in all of Major League Baseball this year, only allowing 44 home runs so far this year, with the team ERA of 3.04, a whip of 1.20, 196 team walks to 567 strikeouts for an opponent batting average only 230 against them. That's pretty fascinating. They're batting as a team 230, and they're holding opponents to a 230 batting average. Look at that comparison. Teams are batting nearly 300 against the Rockies, 291. Carson Palmquist taking on Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison 1-1 with a 4.34 ERA, 1.29 whip over 18 innings pitched. It's two guys, both similar amount of innings pitched, but different stories there. We'll see. The walks will be crucial. The walks will be crucial for both of these pitchers. 10 walks for Palmquist, 7 for Harrison here in those 18 innings worth of work for both of them. Palmquist allowing the 4 home runs, Harrison with the 2. So some guys still kind of carving their way into the league and making their impacts known here as Kyle Harrison, only 23 years of age, is listed as day-to-day here, though. So I'm curious if that might change, as we did see that. And I do want to bring up, I think we didn't get to it in this very much here as we're going to wind down the show and close it out. The Senzatella opener thing will be an interesting thing to watch, and we'll see maybe if that happens again with Senzatella coming up, or maybe if it was a one-time thing. But an interesting wrinkle maybe to look for there to see if the Rockies will continue to try doing something there with Senza. But we don't have to – no Senza start right now. Carson Palmquist looking to get the Rockies back on track and back in the win column, as the Rockies look to avoid setting off on another long losing streak and hopefully avoiding their usual pattern of 8 straight losses before they pick up a win. We'll be breaking it all down here on Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. You can find us on those and be part of the show on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel by checking out the show there, liking the video, subscribing, and firing off your Rockies hot takes in the comment section. For your second listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB and Locked On MLB Game Night, covering all things Major League Baseball for you. And we got all sorts of Colorado sports coverage here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Locked On Rockies, Locked On Broncos. Oh, my goodness. I said Locked On Rockies, and it totally threw off by the outro I've done a million times. Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, and Buffs, all free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Until next time, folks, we're rocking and rolling here on the Locked On Rockies podcast with you, Rockies fans. This is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.